pretty much divide this year into two halves. So you've got the first 6 months, which was building towards London, but I broke my 5k PB, my 10k PB, my half marathon PB, represented my club at some big events and performed well and did them proud. Then obviously London came around, which I ran amazingly for what I expected from myself, which is then, no understatement, has changed my life, and at least changed the trajectory that my life's on. But then you've got the second half of the year where actually all of that pressure kind of got to me. Maybe an element of complacency as well, where I got maybe a little bit ahead of myself and started to think that I just kind of had it in the bag. And then I've had this kind of reality check of, it's almost like that rags to riches, back to rags, if that makes sense. I've kind of done it backwards in the second half of the year. So it's been a roller coaster this year, but lots of lessons, lots of celebrations as well, and nothing to be ashamed of, which I think is something I need to keep telling myself. It's weird, you'd actually think that I'd have probably like a better mindset when you're running the best, but actually I think my mindset is actually so much better now, not looking at the individual performances. If one run went wrong, it was like, nah, I've lost all my fitness, what's going wrong? Getting in my own head, then I maybe wouldn't sleep very well. Whereas currently it's like, oh, I had a bad run, go again tomorrow. Because I've had that period of not being at my highest performance level, and I've had such a long period now where I've had some good sessions, I've had some bad sessions, that I've learned it's very much more about the bigger picture to be consistently good rather than occasionally great. The Berlin block was about 12 weeks. The first 6, I tried to basically blow my London train block out of the water, ran further, ran harder, and that was all going great until I started getting the gut issues about 6 weeks out, which then meant I was then training less and training worse. So it then led to like my downfall, I suppose. I trained too hard, so then I couldn't train enough. In the Valencia build, I've done a lot less than I have done previously, but because it's been a lot more controlled, a lot more intentional, I feel like I could probably come away with maybe even a better result than Berlin, just because the trajectory has been a lot more momentous. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like I'm with the momentum rather than against the momentum, which is how I felt with Berlin. Running for me had always been an escape from the rest of my life chaos kind of going on. Whereas at the moment, it feels like running is needed for that purpose the least it's ever been. Now running is back to what it should be, which is the hobby, the enjoyment, because the rest of my life is going actually really, really well. Moving flat, got a much better work-life balance and kind of creating the life that I want for myself. So running has kind of started to come back to where it should be, which is an enjoyable escape. It's almost a good thing that the running hadn't been going well, so now I'm in a much more stable position to then let running be the thing it's meant to be, rather than over-depending on it, I suppose. Between me, my GP and my nutritionist, what we've essentially come to the conclusion is that it was almost a bit like Red S, where I've overtrained, underfueled, because I was focusing so much on kind of cutting my weight down. Thinking if I could be 5 kilos lighter than I was at London, could I run a few minutes quicker? So I was then doing more training because I wanted to put in a more impressive training block than London. So then underfueling whilst overtraining, and then the first kind of system of my body to shut down was my gastrointestinal system, essentially. So I started having GI problems both whilst running and not running. So then I got a coach on board to try and make sure that I'm getting a little bit more of an objective training load, doing what's sensible for me at certain points, not just going out for ridiculous mileage because that's what I fancy. So doing a much more of a objective training approach. And then, yeah, combined with the proper fueling, getting proper calories in, not worrying about the number on the scales, and just getting the training calorie requirements sorted out essentially. And that's led to, well, touch wood, no gut issues. And then when it comes to the coaching side of things, it's been really nice to have a bit more of like an objective point of view. And I'm constantly comparing myself to my old fitness level where I was 6 months ago, whereas having a new coach on board, he's not doing that. He's looking at it much more objectively, going, look, you've come on massively in the last 6 weeks. We're not quite where you want to be, but you're still doing great for where you are at this point in time with everything you've got going on. So it's nice to have that kind of positive reinforcement when maybe I'm beating myself up a little bit. There's someone else in my corner who's just basically keeping my head screwed on, being like, no, you're on the right trajectory, you're doing all the right things. And it's nice to be able to kind of take away that sort of worry about, are you doing the right thing? Because you can kind of, if you trust in your coach, you can kind of be like, no, they've got it. Yeah, I'll just keep doing what they tell me and I'll get to where I want to be in the end. And that's a nice feeling. It's like one less stress. So you could be in the exact same spot fitness-wise going into a race in like two identical shapes. But if one of them you have a really good session before and the other one you have a bad session before, the outcome is going to be completely different because your belief in what you can perform on race day has changed. And I think that's something that's really important for going into Valencia. Yeah, I might look at the Strava graph and be like, oh, it's less than what I did pre-Berlin, but actually the recent training has shown me that I've got it's given me the belief that I can perform on race day because I'm going with the momentum, starting to get my rhythm back, my drive back, which I'd started to lose going into Berlin. So Valencia's a couple of weeks away and I'm still going there. I'm still going to give it my all on race day. I know it's not going to be a PB performance because my training has indicated that I'm not in PB performance shape, and that's just the harsh reality of it, I suppose. But I'd still like to go out there and just make myself proud. Even if the clock doesn't show a PB, which it won't, I can still get to the end. Very much like a cross-country race, you know at the end whether you've had a good performance or not. Even if the time isn't maybe what you was expecting, you can still be like, oh, actually, really dug in when the going got tough, and I did myself proud there. So. Success next year looks, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want another PB. I would love to return to London Marathon and go one better. 2:16.52 was fantastic, but could a 2:15 or a 2:14 be on the cards, almost as like a thank you to London Marathon for this year's event, if that makes sense, like coming back to the crowd and being like, look, I'm back. That's something that I definitely think and like daydream and kind of memorize a lot, is being back at London and having the same, if not better, experience. That would be incredible. But to come out of 2026 as a more well-rounded athlete, I want to spend a little bit more time dedicating myself to the other distances, so 5k, 10k, half marathon. Whereas this year I felt like I went headfirst into the marathon, but then forgot about everything else. It's like, oh, I'm doing 3 marathons this year, but I've done barely any racing apart from that. So I think that's one of the main takeaways is enjoying London, hopefully having another good performance, but also dedicating more time to the other aspects of the sport that I really enjoy as well.